and welcome to Kitchen Table Theology. I'm your host, Tiffany Coker. This season on Kitchen Table Theology, we're diving into the beliefs, histories, and theological distinctions of each of the major Protestant denominations. We've given a brief overview of these denominations, and in our last episode, my dad, Pastor Jeff Cranston, had the opportunity to interview Reverend Jay Hardwick as we aim to learn more about the Southern Baptist Convention. Jay is the senior pastor of Forest Hills Baptist Church in Nashville, Tennessee, and he's currently serving as the president of the Tennessee Baptist Convention. We're about to jump in and pick up where we left off in their conversation, but let me pause here quickly and say, if you missed the first part of this interview with Jay, it's a great time right here. Hit pause, go back and listen to episode 228, and then you can come back and join us for this second half of their conversation. Here's Pastor Jeff with Jay Hardwick.
Talk to us a little bit about when you mentioned the North American Mission Board and the International Mission Board. Just give us a brief overview of that, because if it's one thing the Southern Baptist Convention has been known for since day one, it's evangelizing the world. Starting right where you live and going to the uttermost parts of the earth.
Yeah.
And the North American Mission Board and the International Mission Board are all about that through church planting and missionaries and so forth. Give us a rundown of what that looks like.
Yeah, great question. That really was the fuel for the convention forming in 1845 and continuing on to this day. Is again back to that we can do more and we can do better if we will work and partner together in this friendly cooperation. And so the North American Mission Board does exactly what it sounds like. That is an entity of the Southern Baptist Convention that works to help Southern Baptists engage in North American mission and church planting and evangelism opportunities to reach North America for Christ. Big driver within the North American Mission Board over the last number of years has been the SEND network, which is a network of the largest cities in North America where Southern Baptists have really focused our efforts in terms of missions, church planting, evangelism, strengthening existing churches that are there, but then also training and helping those churches to raise up church planters, many of them coming from Southern Baptist churches that are all across the country that then will go and serve within those local contexts to then be sent out by that local church to plant a new congregation in areas of great need. So like our church, we are a lead partner in Send Los Angeles and in Send California, where there is tremendous work, multiplying work happening right now to raise up church planters and plant them with healthy support because they're backed by this massive network of Southern Baptist churches that are joining in together. And so churches will have kind of unique and specific partnerships like our church does, but then also through the cooperative program, which is kind of the resource fuel. This is the 100th anniversary of the cooperative program this year, is the resource fuel. All Southern Baptist churches are able to participate and give towards that. And I know that'll be a topic of conversation.
Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
So all of this requires a great deal of money.
Yes.
From what you've said, I think it's safe to assume we could assume that churches are not told you must give 5% or 8% of your general fund to the denomination, which is true in a lot of denominations.
Right.
So a church doesn't have to give a dime to the state convention, to NAM, to IFB, or anything like that, or IMB, International Mission Board. Where does the money come from? So growing up, there were two very influential women in my life, and one of them was named Annie Armstrong, and the other one was named Lottie Moon.
Yeah.
So, and that was a Christmas and Easter offering named after some missionary women. So where does the funding come to finance all of this work?
Yep. So it's exactly what we're kind of getting into, as I was talking about North American Mission Board there and getting into cooperative programs. So nobody tells a Southern Baptist church, you have to give at this level. However, again, the foundation of why we exist together as this network and family of churches is friendly cooperation. So there's a want to, and there's an understanding. So if you're planted as a Southern Baptist church, it's just kind of baked into your DNA. If you're a church that's in another denomination or non-denomination and you're thinking, oh, I might want to join into this, what's this all about? Well, here's the statement of faith, and here's what we're all about from a mission standpoint. And we're basically going to join together on both of these matters here. We're going to join together around this as our confession, but then we're also going to join around this as our cooperative effort in mission, and the fuel for it is the cooperative program. And so what we would hope is that every Southern Baptist church is going to meet with their budget team, their finance team, their elder team, whoever their leadership decision-making body, their congregation as a voting congregation, however they handle that. And they're going to say, you know what? We are so excited about what God is doing through these cooperative mission efforts that if it was up to our church to reach North America for Christ, we couldn't do it. If it was up to our church to reach every nation and raise up and train and send and support every missionary, we couldn't do it. If it was up to us to educate all the thousands of pastors and ministry leaders being educated in our seminaries right now, we couldn't do it. But we can give a portion of our budget. We can give a portion of what our church members are giving for the mission of our church. And we're going to say, you know what, we're part of this larger thing and we want to support that. And not only do we want to give, but we want to pray. We want to pray for those missionaries and those seminary students and those church plants and those efforts that are taking place. And then we want to work with those entities and those organizations to say, hey, how could we send a mission team? Where's a people group that we could adopt? Where's a send city that we could get engaged with? We've got a young man who feels called to ministry, and we would love to help him get formal theological education. Well, here are these world-class seminaries, and our cooperative program funds are helping to send students to those seminaries. So we want churches to have that conversation and give generously. And I mean, we'd love to see every church given basically a tithe. Like we want our church members to tithe to the church. We'd love to see churches tithing to mission. Now, just like in our local churches, that doesn't always happen. Right. Doesn't always happen in SBC life either. I think the average church gives around 5% or so of their offerings to the cooperative mission efforts of the SBC. But kind of dovetail over to the IMB, the International Mission Board, our effort to reach the nations. The Southern Baptist Convention, well, let me back. The International Mission Board of the Southern Baptist Convention is the largest international mission sending agency in the world.
Wow.
Right now, there are some 3,700 missionaries on the field with their families that are fully funded and resourced through the cooperative program giving of Southern Baptist churches. And churches can still partner in with specific missionaries. So, like our church, we've got missionary partners all over the world. Some of them were raised up from our church. Some of them used to be on our church staff. Some of them are those that we've just come in contact with through the years, through various, relationships and all of that. And so we partner in specifically with those. And there are times that we jump into specific ministry opportunities that they have, either through teams that go out or opportunities that we have to support various initiatives that are happening. But then every Southern Baptist church has the opportunity to support the collective work of those 3,700 international missionaries and all of those North American church planters and chaplains and disaster relief teams and all of that's happening through the North American Mission Board. And then I mentioned the seminaries, 6 world-class seminaries that God is blessing and using in remarkable ways to raise up that next generation of ministry leaders and missionaries. And so through the cooperative giving of Southern Baptists, the cost for a Southern Baptist student to go to one of our Southern Baptist seminaries is dramatically reduced compared to, non-denominational or other, seminary entities, and not saying anything about the quality of those wonderful seminaries in and out of the SBC. But it is very unique, and it does make a difference when a prospective seminary student from a Southern Baptist church, looks at what it would cost them to go to a Southern Baptist seminary. It is going to be a dramatically reduced number compared to other opportunities that they are going to have. And it's because of the collective cooperative giving of Southern Baptists that's been going on, like I said, for 100 years. And so these entities exist, and these church planters can be raised up. These missionaries can be sent. And not to mention the 3,700 that are already on the field. There's over 1,000. I think the number is even north of 1,200 prospective missionaries that are in the pipeline right now, training to be sent out by our International Mission Board from their local churches, trained and equipped through our International Mission Board and sent on the field to reach the nations for Christ. So it is massive. It is massive, the funds. And then you mentioned the 2 offerings. So those 2 offerings that happen each year for Southern Baptist, Lottie Moon Christmas offering for international missions, and the Annie Armstrong Easter offering for North American missions. Those are kind of those specific, direct to the field opportunities that Southern Baptists then have and participate in. Again, nobody tells us you have to, but willingly, and different ways that people do it, different ways that churches do it. But those funds that are raised go directly to the field. They go directly to those missionaries to support their ministry and their efforts and what they're doing to advance the gospel either in North America or around the world. And those offerings over the last couple of years have seen incredible increases in giving to record levels that have never been seen before. And so the mission of God is powerfully advancing across North America and around the world through that cooperative generosity of Southern Baptists.
That is absolutely incredible to me, because nobody else is doing it at this level out of North America. And so really, really something to be proud of and grateful to God for. You mentioned the seminaries. I did some of my master's work through Southern Seminary in Louisville, Kentucky. That's such a solid one. But perhaps the college or university that most people may have heard of, which is SBC related, would be Liberty University up in Lynchburg, Virginia. And that, I think the last time I saw, between on-campus and extension and online students, was somewhere north of 60,000 students, the largest Christian university in the world, I believe. Is that right? Am I right in?
Yeah, that something like that is right. Now, Liberty is not one of our six supported, right, SBC.
But there is a connection there.
Yes, there has been a connection through the years. Yes, collectively in our 6 seminaries. And so this was, and a lot with Liberty there when you look at the college and the graduate numbers, and that's where you get a massive number. And they figured out online stuff way before anybody else did and have been doing that. And the Lord has blessed that and used that in a huge way. And obviously every college, every institution of higher education had to figure out online delivery systems, if nothing else by COVID. I mean, it was happening anyway, but COVID obviously accelerated all of it. And so by the last count that I saw on our 6 seminary campuses, which these would be graduate students that are in our seminary programs, there's north of 25,000 students right now.
Wow.
Training in a Southern Baptist seminary. And that's spread across pretty evenly across all of them. Southern is the largest, and it has been for a number of years, as it was the first one. But they all have several thousand. They're all doing really well, healthy leadership and great things happening.
And since we're on the topic, I think our mutual friend, Dr. Chuck Lawless, would tell you, Jay, to finish that Doctor of Ministry degree.
Oh, my word. That's the whole reason why this podcast has happened. Because Dr. Lawless sent you an email and said, look, you got to get Hardwick on this thing, and you got to get him talking about all this stuff and then put him on the spot.
You could be writing a paper rather than doing this podcast right now.
Exactly. Instead of spending all this time talking like you always do, go write something.
Listen, you have given us a great overview of the Southern Baptist Convention. And I'm so frustrated as we get ready to sign off, because there is so much more to it and so much more to talk about. And so maybe we'll have to have you back. But I just want to say thank you very much. And is there anything else that maybe we didn't cover that you'd like to add?
Well, hey, honored by the opportunity. And I love talking about the collective work of what God has done and what he is doing through Southern Baptist churches. Like you, I'm a product of a Southern Baptist church, came to faith in Christ in a Southern Baptist church, was baptized, answered the call to ministry, ordained, went to a Southern Baptist undergraduate college, North Greenville University, there in the upstate of South Carolina, Southern Seminary for my master's, Southeastern now for my doctorate eventually. And then obviously getting to serve a Southern Baptist church and right now for these last couple of years as the president of the Tennessee Baptist Convention. So I'm personally indebted to Southern Baptists, because it was Southern Baptists that prayed for me, that invested in me, shared the gospel with me, mentored, discipled, took me to camp, helped provide for my seminary education, my wife's as well. And so I feel an indebtedness and I feel a stewardship in this moment in my life at my age and the opportunity where the Lord has placed me to join in and be a part of what so profoundly impacted and changed my life, to see that happen with young pastors and ministry leaders, to see that happen with those that don't know Christ, to see it happen with new churches and great cities that need the Lord, to see unreached people groups reach through this amazing, mission mechanism that the Lord has given us. So I feel a real indebtedness to this and a real humble stewardship in the opportunity, but also certainly recognize, like every other human institution, we are not perfect. We don't have the corner on the market. We don't have it all figured out, and we got to work through our stuff. And prayerfully, what we try to do it as a family. It's why we gather for a couple days every year in the Southern Baptist Convention, is to try to work through the challenges, the opportunities that we have, and to do it together and do it in a way that'll honor Christ as best as we can. And where we need to work on things and fix things, we try to handle them. But so we're not perfect, but I do believe in what we're doing. I believe in why it started. I'm excited about what's happening right now, and I'm excited about the future as we move forward. So thanks for the opportunity, man. I'm going to be looking forward to the rest of these conversations as you have leaders from various other entities and denominations. It's going to be fantastic, and just appreciate you creating the space for these conversations to happen.
Yeah, I am looking forward to it too, because I'm going to learn a lot, because there's a lot I just do not know. Hey, are you on any of the socials? Is there any way people, if they want to follow you, can follow you?
Yeah. Simple thing on X or Twitter. Is it X?
X Twitter.
X Twitter. Yeah. Just at Jay Hardwick is the easiest way to go with that. And our church is Forest Hills Baptist Church in Nashville. And so we're on podcasts and, sermon things, all the places where you can find those, we're there. So
it's a great church, Kitchen Table Theologian. Check it out, Forest Hills Baptist in Nashville. And Jay's a great communicator, great preacher. Go on there and listen to him. And Jay, it's just left to say thank you so very much. God bless you. And you gave us an awful lot, not only to think about, but you gave us a lot of knowledge. And we're signing off today knowing a whole lot more than when we signed on. So thank you and God bless you.
Thank you. Same to you, Jeff.
Thanks so much for listening to the Kitchen Table Theology podcast with Pastor Jeff Cranston. If you're enjoying the podcast, would you take just a second and consider leaving a rating or review? We really do appreciate you helping us in getting the word out. You can check out today's episode notes and more at jeffcranston.com. You can also email us anytime at pastorjeff@lowcountrycc.org. As always, thanks are due to our friends here at Low Country Community Church in Bluffton, South Carolina, for making this podcast possible. Next week, Pastor Jeff and I will take a few minutes to debrief the conversation that he just had with Jay, and we'll highlight a few key things that we learned about the Southern Baptist Convention. Until then, always remember that the real power of theology is not only knowing it, but applying it. Thanks for joining us at the table.